Everything is good to go. Let me check the microphone. There we go. Hopefully everything's good to go. Mic check. Let's see. Why isn't my... Let's see what's going on here. There we go. We are live. We should be live. Jay Wolfie, what's up? Chief Supreme, what's up? Mark McKeever, what's going on? Shane White, MN Comic Books, everybody. Hopefully you guys can hear me. Tanner Lewis, it's been a while. It is. How are you? I'm doing all right, man. Got a lot to talk to you about. Joyful Spirit in the chat. Daryl, Call Weezer, Ben Johnson, what's going on? A lot of familiar faces. Johnny Rivera, Long Maddie, what's going on? Patrick McCabe. Guys are just pouring in. That's awesome. So I'm probably going to be repeating a lot of stuff just to kind of give more and more people time to get on. I know I tried to advertise as much as I could, to get you guys on here as I'm on. Hopefully the audio sounds good. This mic's been giving me, I don't want to say problems, but it's been a little iffy. So hopefully it sounds good. Let me know in chat if it doesn't sound good. But yeah. Basically, a lot has gone on. For those of you that follow me on Instagram, you guys know that my dog Lily just passed away, and it sucked because A, she was very, very young, and B, nobody wants, to lose a pet at any point in their life, but she passed away. The worst part about it was that we didn't know what happened. We didn't know what caused her to pass away. We are fortunate enough that we live in kind of a not so much a rural area because the city's like right there, but we do live way out in the woods, and we have a good piece of property, like land and stuff, that's all fenced in for us to just let our dogs roam. And my father-in-law, who is an outdoorsman, and he has seen many things, like as far as like injuries and stuff like that. He seems to think it was a snake bite. We don't know for sure. We tried to look for puncture wounds, and we couldn't, I guess, with the fur and the fact that we really didn't know what to look for, besides the stereotypical double fang mark thing. But we don't know what caused it. We found her at our fence line with our other dog Luna, and she was just dragging her back half, like her legs wouldn't work, her hind legs. And I only had seen that one other time with another childhood dog that we had, a beagle, and she was in heat and got like pregnated by a bigger dog, and I guess the dog was a lot bigger, so she got like her legs were like paralyzed, and the vet said it was like a local or a acute paralyzed syndrome or whatever they said, because of what happened, and that it would go away. Just had to bring her inside and everything. So I thought it was the same thing until we turned her over and realized that her whole stomach was like swollen. So that's what led my father-in-law to believe that it was a snake bite. Snakes are starting to get more active around here because of the change of weather, and as we're moving on to summer, they're going to be more and more prevalent. So it doesn't really matter what happened. The fact is that she passed away, and that's the worst part about it. Thank you guys so much for the support and stuff, and those of you who got a chance to know Lily just from the videos or even meet her in real life. She was a sweet little dog, a little bit of a hard-headed pupper, because it was really difficult to get her trained, but we were able to get her potty trained and everything, and everything worked out in that regard. But it just sucks that she's gone. But yeah, so that happened. Some more stuff happened. You guys can probably see behind me there, the room looks a little bit more crowded, and that's because where those are all our cosplays that Ashley and I have. Everything from, as you can see, the Ash Ketchum shirt that she wears, all the way to this, looks like Jedi robes. I'm not sure. There's fur in there. There's a bunch of stuff on that little clothes rack thing, and that's all our cosplay stuff. My Wolverine boots are on top. I've got my kilt up there. But we had to move all of that in here because the garage that in our house is enclosed is actually going to be the podcast studio slash D&D room. And for those of you who are patrons of the channel, this is a perfect segue. I am working on a video. I have most of it filmed. I just need to film the rest of the setup of me actually getting stuff, you know, out of the boxes and everything. And what's going on? Rapram? What's going on, man? Hopefully I said that right. But yeah, so I'm making a video for the patrons, exclusive only for the patrons, and that's of me setting up the D&D and slash podcast room studio. So you guys hopefully will enjoy that when it's ready. We just about got it done. I'm not going to give you guys any, you know, sneak previews of it because obviously the patrons get to see it first because they're the patrons. They support the channel monetarily, and I gotta show love there. And also, if you are a patron now and you're in the chat, thank you. But if you're looking for, you know, ways to support the channel and wanting to be a patron and all that good stuff, when the video uploads and gets onto YouTube, I'm gonna go ahead and put the links. All the links to the Teespring, the Patreon, and everything else are on all of my videos. But I will make sure to plug that in. Basically, patreon.com/snapkeepvideos, and I have 3 different tiers that you can go in there and look at all the good stuff. You get access to a Discord that I promise I'm going to be more active on now. But yeah, I get monthly giveaways and all that good stuff. But for those of you, most of you are familiar faces. You guys know all that good stuff. So thank you guys all for the sorries on Lily. I really appreciate it. I'm seeing in the chat now. But yeah, so more stuff has happened. I'm gonna get all the negative stuff out of the way before I go on to the positive stuff and just, you know, positive vibes and all that. Knoxville news, hang on to that question, I'll touch on that in a second. But yeah, so basically, Random Andy's channel, you shoot, missing out, sorry, I was doing last minute tax stuff. No, don't worry about it, you didn't really miss a whole lot, except for the fact that I was just covering the fact that Lily passed away for the first time, talking about it in a video instead of just an Instagram post. That's pretty much all that you missed, and how much it sucks that she passed. And you know, I got a video welcoming her, you know, into the family and stuff, and that's it. It's rough. Thankfully, a lot has been going on that has kind of, for lack of a better phrase, distracted me a little bit from it. I don't think it's hit me fully yet. I think at any day now the right trigger is going to hit me, but all this positive feedback that I'm getting from you guys and all the support really helps, and I really appreciate that. But that's pretty much all that you missed. The other piece of news that sucks, let's see, what is how is everyone? Wait, what? Hey Pastor. Oh, hey chat. I thought it said check chat. Did I ever see the picture sent? Did you ever get to see? Oh, okay. So Joyful Spirit, I did see the photo. That is amazing. I don't even know. So for those of you that don't know, Joyful Spirit emailed me a photo. That's another thing that I need to check more often is my email, because I forget that I advertise that on the YouTube channel. Joyful Spirit sent me a picture of the Thor hammer, the Mjolnir, that I sent her as the winner of, I think it was December's giveaway. And she got like this really awesome shadow box thing to put it in, and like framed it and put it all on the wall. It was amazing. It was great. The crew and everyone signed it, and I was really happy that I was able to get that out to her and to her kids. And the photo looks great. I'm actually gonna print out the photo and frame it myself and probably put it on that wall, which can segue into another plug. I currently have a wall that only has 2 pieces of, which I actually have the Mjolnir that Joyful Spirits kids sent me that I have to frame and get up there. But so that makes 3 pieces of fan mail. I do still have the P.O. box open. It's the same P.O. box. I'm going to have that linked in the description as well. If you guys want to send me anything, art, poetry, anything that comes from you guys, I will frame it and put it on this wall. This whole wall has been bare. I moved everything off of it just to get you guys, and this will be the wall, the subscriber wall. And I'm really excited for that, because I love opening fan mail. So if you guys have anything and everything, sorry, to send me, I will put the P.O. box in the description. And it's basically, I'll just say it too. It's P.O. Box 1962, Niceville, Florida 32588. And yeah, If I send a selfie, would you frame it and hang it? Yeah. If it came from you, bro. What's going on, Nathaniel? But yeah, so trying to, I should have wrote an outline of what to talk about. But anyway, all the bad news, all the negative stuff out of the way. So I, unfortunately, within the last month, contracted COVID-19. Kept it pretty quiet because I didn't know for sure. I tend to stay at home. I go from home to work anyway. So the chances of me getting it, I was under the impression that I was like, yo, my chances are relatively low because I only go to work and come home, work and come home. So when I got sick, I thought, oh, it's a change of weather. I suffer from allergies, pretty heavily. I'm on medication for it. I take like Flonase and all that other stuff. But I got home and all of a sudden I'm just like, I tell my wife, I tell Ashley, I'm like, hey, I don't feel really good. My body hurts. Like I feel like I just went to the gym and I didn't go to the gym, but I was like, dude, what? Like, it felt like I was back at the gym. And she's like, well, did you exercise? I was like, no, I've been skipping all of that because I've been so busy with the podcast room. And she's like, okay, well, maybe it's just you slept wrong or something like that. Maybe it's because we got to get a new mattress eventually. And I didn't think about it. I ignored it. And I have a pretty high pain tolerance. So I didn't think about it. And then all of a sudden, the body aches, like I mentioned, the body aches happened, and then I got like this like really bad tension headache, like right in the front here, and like I felt like I basically was wearing a headband that was too tight. And then I was like, okay, I have a headache, maybe I'm dehydrated, pretty much because of my pain tolerance and because I don't like to take medication. I like to rule everything out. I basically was like, everything's gonna be fine, I got the sniffles, it's okay. As soon as I realized that some of my favorite foods, and for those of you who know, I'm a big guy. I like to eat starches. I'm not really big on sweets. I'm a big meat, potatoes, pasta kind of guy. I realized that the food started tasting weird. Now, for those of you that have been keeping a close eye on COVID and the symptoms and everything else, your sense of taste and your sense of smell going, it's two of the first things that become really good indicators that you may have COVID. So I was like, oh my God. My wife's like, what's going on? I was like, hey, I feel like it might be there. She's like, well, let's go in and let's try alcohol, let's try bleach, let's try my cologne, her perfume, and I could still smell those things fine. But any kind of food, so like the citrus in an orange, I couldn't smell. Basically, if I drank like a protein shake from somewhere, I couldn't smell it. And I was like, what's going on? And she's like, babe, maybe you should get tested just to rule it out. So had COVID for about 1 to 1.5 months. Holy crap, man. Holy crap, that's terrible. Wow, that caught me off guard. 1 to 1.5 months. Jeez. So for me, it lasted about, the full-on symptoms were about 7, maybe 8 days of just from moderate to severe symptoms. And basically, like, I got nauseous, which was weird too, because I don't get nauseous. That was a big indicator. Like, the health department was like, give me your symptoms, and I was like, I'm nauseous, and I don't really get nauseous. They're like, that's a big one. A lot of people don't think about it, but Randy here, no, I didn't suffer, quote unquote. It did suck really hard because my having body aches and feeling like you worked out when you didn't. That's like the worst because mentally you're like, why is this happening? It's the same as like when people are having like panic attacks and they feel like they've been jogging upstairs and they're like breathing heavy and stuff, and you're like, but I was just sitting here. So it freaks you out mentally. That was really bad. Of course, the body aches and stuff in and of itself was bad because you're sore, you're in pain. But the chills, I got really, really bad chills. Like, I was feeling like I was in Antarctica, and I was like, dude, I am like borderline shaking, and that was really annoying because it doesn't matter how when you get the chills, you feel like you're freezing, but then if you do something about it and get under blankets, then you just sweat profusely and you get feverish and stuff like that. So I was in the, not really the decision making period. I was being cautious because they just retracted one of the vaccines. I believe it was the Johnson and Johnson. I was getting really cautious, and I was being really, you know, I guess cautious is the best word, because I was like, I don't know which one to get. You know, I'm a little nervous because I normally don't get flu shots, and all of a sudden this is, you know, something I'm going to introduce to my body, blah blah blah. And in the interim, I was like, okay, I'm gonna go get vaccinated. And as soon as I say that, as soon as my wife and I are like, all right, we're gonna go get vaccinated, all that good stuff, I wake up and I'm like, why do I feel weird? And then all of a sudden this happens, and I was like, crap, I'm sick. So I go to CVS, I take a test, and 2 days later I get the results back, and I saw on my phone it said positive, and I literally, like, my heart sank, because I was like, I've known people that have died from this. I have friends who have, loved ones who had died from this, and I was like, holy crap, where am I at in this? Am I in the beginning? Am I at the end? Am I in the middle? Like, how much longer am I gonna have this? Is this still the preliminary time period? The unknown. Now, for those of you that know, I kind of pride myself in being an intellectual person. I am a thinker. I like to analyze and stuff. Sometimes I overanalyze, but a human being, in my opinion, keeping a human being in the dark, not communicating, not telling them what's going on, not being honest, it's one of the worst forms of torture. If somebody gave me the cold shoulder, I'd much rather them punch me in the face than give me the cold shoulder. It is one of the worst things you can do to a person, because it's literally mental torture. Because especially a person like me who thinks, like, if you let my mind go and don't give it any kind of, parameter, or any kind of, I don't want to say limitation, but any kind of guideline, I could think of anything. I could be like, oh my God, what did I do? What did I do to cause this problem? Why doesn't this person want to talk anymore? Whatever. And then you give me an ultimatum of either I'm not going to care about it anymore because you don't have the respect to talk to me, or I'm just going to stress over this until I finally hear from the person. It's a lose-lose. So for me, the unknown, going into that, I was like, how much longer is this going to last? And, I was freaking out. I called my brother, who got COVID, because he lives in New York City, and it was basically unavoidable at the tail end, or at the beginning, first, second quarter of 2020. If you lived in New York, you were bound to get it. That was just how everyone looked at it. And lo and behold, my brother ended up getting COVID, and he was sick, and he couldn't smell and all that. But my brother is, like, in perfect physical shape. He always worked out. He always stayed at a good body weight, and a lot of that stuff, it's basically based off of a person-to-person basis. So for me, I'm like, is this thing gonna kill me? And it freaked me out, because I was like, I got 2 young kids. I got more than just me to live for. I got you all to live for, because you guys are basically my family. So I'm kind of missing, because I'm ranting, I'm missing all the chats. Let's see, any questions? People just socializing. That's awesome. Talking about the vaccines. Cool. But yeah. Oh, Joyful Spirit says, my sister-in-law had a bad reaction. I think it was the Moderna shot. Yeah. So I also had, I was talking to Prime and his wife. We went and had dinner one night before all this happened, and she said that one of her coworkers got one of the vaccines and she died. And I was like, oh my God, But you guys know me. I always wear my mask. I maybe like 95% of the time I have a mask on, unless, I'm like, oh crap, I'm in my mind, I'm like, even though I'm technically away from everyone, I'm still in a public place, and I boom, put it on, so basically that happened. Got the positive test result, and thank God all my symptoms are gone. I don't have the chills, don't have the headaches. My voice, that's another thing, my voice went away. For those of you that I just put out a video, my most recent video was showing my good buddy CJ Mortal Kombat 1995 for the first time. I am currently editing Annihilation, and then we're going to film the new one. He had to go out of town for a couple of weeks, so I was like, I'm not going to watch it till you get back into town, but we are going to make a video leading up, because that's why I introduced the movies to you. So basically, that's the plan for the next my friend watches kind of series on my channel. Is me showing my buddy CJ the Mortal Kombat movies. Now, trying to make sure I don't lose the train of thought here because a lot of segues. Basically, I sounded really weird. I can't remember if it was because I also shot, which I have to edit, the the first episode of Falcon Winter Soldier with Ashley watching. We ended up getting like a random knock on the door, and the first episode is going to be a little out of the norm because I had someone come in that didn't expect for them to be there. But you guys will see when you watch it. But we did that. We filmed the first episode of Falcon Winter Soldier, and I think it was that taping where I sound like I don't sound like myself at all. I sound like there's something wrong. Like I couldn't recognize I heard some of the audio and playback, and I was like, oh my god, it sounds like I have like a monster voice dubbed over me. But yeah, and I was like full blown, didn't realize it, full blown had symptoms and all that. And because Ashley is vaccinated, I guess that's what offset it. And because I was sick, I was naturally staying away from my kids anyway, and they have their own room. And their mom, when their mom's home, their mom likes to be, because she's gone to work all the time, she likes to be the one to interact with them a lot. Like I give them breakfast and lunch and stuff, but mom gives them dinner and mom reads them stories and all that because they need to have their mom time. So I normally don't really interact with them a whole lot, apart from the first half of the day when Ashley isn't physically here. So, and a lot of that entails me going in, feeding them, making sure they're okay, you know, answering Netflix's stupid question of, are you still watching? I'm like, these kids are 6. Yeah, they're still watching. But, excuse me. Anyway, yeah, so lo and behold, I was like sitting there recording and, you know, didn't realize that I ended up getting this virus. So, and I'm not throwing anyone under the bus, but we're pretty confident where it came from, and it's my coworker ended up getting it somehow from one of his siblings or something like that, and then he passed it on to me. And because he and I work together, so we're like, oh, we go to work and then go home. He's immune compromised, so it's amazing that he didn't get worse from it. So he gave it to me, and then, you know, because I was the only one that wasn't vaccinated besides my kids, I got it full blown, and you know, that kind of thing, which is why this thing is so dangerous, and why I implore you guys to take it seriously. I'm sure most of you do, but God. Sorry, I thought that I know that must have been really loud. I had to clear my throat. But anyway, with all that out of the way, I feel a lot better now. I have no symptoms whatsoever. I can smell, I can taste food. I just had a burger, or a chicken sandwich rather, and I could taste it. It was awesome. So, with all that being said, all that out of the way, we have a bunch of videos that were now that I'm getting my life back together, you know, 2.5 weeks of having this virus that shut everything down. I couldn't edit, I couldn't think, I couldn't do anything. So Kylo Ren asked in the chat, who's my favorite Mortal Kombat character? Scorpion. Scorpion, hands down. It's not even close. I am a huge Scorpion fan. Jason Todd, what's up? I got COVID in January. It wasn't fun. I passed out one night and had to go to the ER. Dude, I'm glad you recovered, because see, that stuff like that could have happened to me. And you know, I don't consider myself Superman by any means. You know, I don't consider myself, you know, someone who's untouchable or anything like that. I know I'm human, and you know, I like to say that I'm, you know, a strong guy. I'm not in perfect shape, but you know, I've always worked out. I've always lifted weights and stuff like that. And you know, I'm like, what, you know, what's gonna happen if I get this thing? So basically, as soon as I'm clear, which I think I have a waiting period before I can get vaccinated, I'm definitely getting vaccinated. I do not wish COVID on my worst enemy. It is probably the worst feeling sick I have ever had, definitely in recent memory, and within the last 15 years. Nothing has come close. Not a toothache, not a headache, not a migraine, nothing. COVID was the worst. It felt horrible. I had to work, which I didn't know I had it at the time. I had to work the first like 2 days of my full-blown symptoms, and that wasn't fun because I love my job, but I was so tired. Like, it didn't matter how long I slept, and that was another indicator. I was like, why am I so exhausted? Why do I feel so tired? Um, but that, you know, and I still wore my mask, and I did everything I was supposed to, which is why, you know, you always wear a mask because you never know. And you know, so basically that happened, and then now I'm playing catch up. You know, I know that I didn't do a live for a couple weeks, and now you guys know why. I didn't want to say I had COVID. I didn't want to use it as a clickbaity kind of a video. I didn't want to mention it in any kind of post. I knew I was going to cover it in the live because I was going to tell you guys why I've been away from YouTube for a while, but I did not want it to even remotely seem, even though I'm taking that catch-22 stage, that COVID is something that, you know, to brag about or something to make a video about. I can talk to you about what it felt, but I'm not the clickbaity kind of person, you know. And for me, it's for those of you that have played Pokemon, the only way to compare it is with rare candies. I'd rather have 100, you know, level 100 Pokemon that I trained as opposed to one that I just gave a bunch of rare candies to. And that's how I treat YouTube. I wanted it to be something, I want it to be something like transparent and something very honest and something that comes from me, you know. So that, and that's just how I see it. Nothing against people that do quote unquote clickbaity stuff. It's just not my thing. So but anyway, again, with all that out of the way, I've been trying to figure out the best route. No, babe, the kids are not too loud. I just saw her comment. Do not, I don't, what was I saying? I'm reading the comments. I'm trying to multitask it. But, oh, that's right. I have a bunch of stuff coming out, a lot of videos, a lot of things, editing and all that, which brings me to that point. I reached out to, Devin, who made my intro to the channel, and he's very talented with VFX work. I reached out to him and asked him in an email if he would be willing to edit 4 videos a month for me. Now, I don't know. I haven't gotten back to him. I'm actually going to check the email now to see if he responded yet. But I just sent the message late last night, so I don't expect him to answer immediately. But I'm definitely going to be looking for an editor. Only because if you haven't screenshot that fan mail address, oh, I guess I could just type it in. I think Ash did, but I can, there it is, it's up top. I can type it in again. But yeah, so here's that P.O. box. Bam. Cool. Excuse me. But yeah, so I'm looking for an editor. Reason why is because of my schedule and the fact that Ash and I, part of the reason we kind of talked about it and narrowed it down, part of the reason why I haven't been like, I haven't picked a day every week to release a My Friend Watches kind of a video and stuff. I want that to be the formulaic series on the channel. I want that to be the channel that basically I always have a video that is in that series to release, and then also do my own kind of fun videos like my D&D videos that I have a bunch scripted that I just haven't had the time, haven't made the time to shoot, and stuff like that. But I want to have that consistent, you know, video, or that consistent person that can edit the video, and I don't have the crunch time of like, I'm really tired, you know, my God, I've been up all night shooting, watching the kids, all this other stuff, and working and everything, you know, to have a video edited promptly. I think getting an editor would be, at least at the very minimum, would help. Might not be something that, you know, is the end all be all, but I can see it definitely helping to some degree. So I sent out the one and only email to Devin. If Devin can't for whatever reason, then I will definitely try and figure out ways to publicly advertise that I'm looking for an editor. If any of you are editors out there, definitely reach out to me. But Joyful Spirit. So the Gamers is actually something that we're gonna film because I have never seen it. Ashley has never seen it. That would make for the perfect video. You're definitely gonna get a shout out, Joyful Spirit, in that video or in those videos because you sent me 3 of them, or 3 movies, I believe. But yeah, so we're definitely gonna film that. It's on the very top of the list. As I get a editor and a schedule and everything going, which hopefully you guys will bear with me on that. I see a lot of patrons in the chat. I am constantly stressing over Patreon because I want you guys to feel like it's worth your money that you're investing and donating into the channel and into, you know, the community. So I definitely have you guys always in the back of my mind trying to figure out new and inventive ways. Actually, like from playing catch up, you guys can see MN Comic Books. There's the printer working on your Black Panther statue from February. But yeah, so a lot of this stuff, a lot of playing catch up is happening. I'm multitasking, doing everything, definitely getting everything done. I had to restart that print. I had to do a couple other projects because, you know, things messed up and jammed and life happened, life got in the way. But now I'm trying to get a hold of everything, and I know I will. So no, I'm not stressing over it. I'm just making sure you guys know I'm being totally transparent. But basically, for those of you that don't know, I haven't been appearing in any of Holden's videos for a while now, several weeks. I have, Jay Wolfie, I just saw your message. I have been watching Invincible. It's amazing. I have not seen the finale, so I'll probably film the finale for you guys as a special, just because that was one of the videos that during me having COVID, one of the series rather, I was looking for stuff to watch, and I just watched Invincible and I loved it. I haven't seen the finale yet, or the last 2 episodes rather. Maybe I'll just wait and film season 2, or I can probably find someone like CJ who hasn't seen it for you guys to get that organic reaction, and have him be the friend who, how do I word? I can't even words. Which I guess he is the friend now because I no longer make videos with Holden, unfortunately. A lot of you've been asking questions about that and leaving the comments and stuff like why are you not appearing in the videos and all this other stuff, you know, because Prime's there and Jeremy's there still and everything. Holden and I are no longer friends, unfortunately. You know, it's something that I still struggle with. Last night I forgot, I think I was playing a video game or watching something, and immediately my impulse was to grab my phone and message Holden and be like, hey man, have you seen this? And I had to remind myself, oh yeah, you guys don't talk anymore. So you know, it sucks, but I mean, it's the reality of the situation, and you know, I can't allow it to continue affecting me, you know, because it is only affecting me from, you know, what I hear, and I'm not trying to throw anyone under the bus or you know, I'm not going to get into details or anything like that, but from what I understand, you know, my life is the only life that's being like halted and, you know, gummed up and all that other bad stuff. So I just need to realize that, you know, that just the fact that I am in so much pain and you know, depressed over the whole thing, it shows that I cared, and you know, it validates that I gave 110%. And you know, it just didn't work out. So I don't know if any of you that were asking, memory it's not helping me right now remember who all was asking, but a bunch of people have been messaging me and commenting on videos and stuff, asking me why I haven't been there. I basically have reason to believe that it won't be like mending, or trying to find the right words to say. But it won't be happening anytime soon. One of the parties involved that I'm not going to name, I'm not going to say who it is, because it is something that I didn't hear from their mouth. I did hear it from someone else, a very trusted source. Let's just leave it at that. But one of the party members had strictly said that under no circumstances, no matter what, they're pretty much done, and that I wouldn't, you know, I wouldn't be wanted around them or whatever. So whether that's true or not, like I said, I got it from a source that is very reliable. You guys are just gonna have to take my word on that. That pretty much showed me that there's nothing I could have done, and that should have been the ending and everything, but I wish it wasn't that way, but it is. There's nothing I can do about that. I know the videos have not been getting as many views and all that because Holden's not the subject and all that other stuff that I can focus on the negative, but it's not going to help anything. I'm definitely focusing on the positive. I'm trying to keep my head up straight. You guys definitely are everything to me. You guys have been supporting me every step of the way. You guys still watch the videos. You still come to the lives. You still do all this stuff. And, Patreon is growing. I've gotten a couple new patrons, and that's been helping us with all the projects and all the equipment and everything, which you guys will see. I promise you, the podcast is coming. I am waiting for 2 more pieces of equipment, which are the arms for the microphones. They're on back order right now, so I have to wait. I just actually called today, and I called Sweetwater and was like, hey, do you guys have these in stock yet? And they were like, well, we won't get them for another 2 weeks. So good news is I get a kind of an end day that, they're going to get sent to me. Bad news is I got to wait 2 weeks. So until then, I'm just going to give all the finishing touches, make sure that video is ready of me getting the podcast studio for the patrons and everything. So I promise the podcast is coming. I'm very, very excited. I carry a notebook in my back pocket with any idea on what I want to cover on a podcast. CJ is going to be a big part of it. He's probably going to be, for the most part, if not Ashley, it'll be CJ being my co-host. And then as the podcast grows, I will get, I'll have ways to call you guys in. I'll get ways, to have guests and all that other stuff. So, let me get into the chat a little bit. But you got my number, bro. Feel free to hit me up whenever. Love those dopamine hits when I get notifications on my phone. Nathaniel, I love you, bro. Appreciate you, man. Nathaniel, he is a patron of the channel, but he is also a close personal friend of mine. He and I go way back for at least 8 years, and he's a great guy. He's a great guy. So love you, Pastor. Keep doing your thing. Appreciate that, Johnny Rivera. Knoxville News, that's terrible. I really enjoyed y'all as a group. Yeah, I mean, like I said, I loved it too. But I'm not sure, why it happened. I've been getting a lot of perspective, and I don't want to spend this whole live talking about that because that's not what this is for. But I got a lot of perspective. I spoke to Ashley a lot about it. I spoke to my mom about it, and everyone's been just telling me, they're like, you are, and you guys can only take my word for it. I'm telling you what other people have told me. I forget right now who wrote the quote, but I think the quote goes something like, when you're good at something, you want to tell everyone. When you're great at something, they tell you. So basically, all these people that saw this epic change in my life, for lack of all intents and purposes, I considered, Holden my best friend for a long time, and, not to get into anything, but that's how I looked at it. And, and I gave 110% the whole time, devoted, my time, my energy, my, all these things. And it just didn't feel appreciated. And that's as detailed as I'm going to get, because like I said, I don't want to focus on this, but a lot of you have been asking questions, and I'm guessing either you guys are asking me because I'm the one that's not there, or maybe your questions aren't being answered on the other half of it. So I'm trying to keep it from being an opinionated answer. And long story short, I was told that I devoted too much of myself, and the line is here, and in a friendship, each person is supposed to go to the line and meet at the line and give the same amount of distance to the line, and I was going over the line and creating a dead space to where, maybe for whatever reason, he couldn't meet because I was infringing. I was being too much overboard, and, all of a sudden it culminated, and I realized, holy crap, it's not reciprocated. Maybe that's what I'm at fault for, that I cared a little too much. I don't know. That's not up for debate or discussion with myself, but who knows? Long story short is, unfortunately, I won't be part of those collabs anymore. And then it also has translated into loss of friendships and everything else. I haven't heard from them, heard from any of them except for Jeremy and Prime since it all happened. And they all seem to be doing fine anyway. So, I'm always the type of person that if something has to go down badly, I always like to look at it that I'm the one that can take it and hold the weight while everyone else can sleep sound. I'll get dirty while everyone else gets clean, kind of deal. I've always kind of been that kind of person. So it's okay losing a couple, nights of sleep and being stressed and feeling, lonely, alone, whatever, all that kind of stuff that makes a really good Nicholas Sparks movie. But my wife and everyone has been telling me, to keep my head up and to, is my conscience clear? And the answer is yes. And they're like, then you have nothing to worry about. So that's the end of that rant. Hopefully those of you that are not in the chat right now can watch this and play back. And I think I did another live when it happened where I addressed it. It really, really sucks, that a lot of you guys are, sad that I'm not in the, but it does make me feel better that you guys value my opinion and you have the urge to say, it sucks Pastor's not here. That makes me feel really, really good. And, the validation is important, no matter what anybody says to you. We're human beings. We all want to belong. We all want that sense of knowing, so for me, it just sucks because, like I said, I gave all of myself, and then on a superficial level too, just going over to Matt's house and making all these videos and being there every other Sunday from sunup to sundown. At some points, it was from sunup to sundown. It was a release. I looked forward to those Sundays. I woke up every one of those Sundays, bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, like, listen, you know what? Today I'm going to film and I'm going to be with my friends and it's going to be great. And then all of a sudden, it's like someone just turned the lights out and it was all gone. And it sucked. And it still continues to suck to this day, but I have to keep going forward. So, with all that being said, thank you guys. Thank every single one of you guys in this chat right now, and all those that can't be here, that want to be here, and that are here in spirit. Thank you guys so much for all the support. There were a couple times where I even told Ashley, I was like, should I just give this up? Why am I still doing YouTube? And the answer is no. I enjoy it. That's why I love doing it. I love doing it for you guys. I love getting feedback. That is another thing. Please don't feel like you're giving me too much feedback. All the feedback in the world. I'm gonna open up Patreon first because I have to give the patrons their love and their support and their props for requests. We're gonna do so. So we're still doing karate or Cobra Kai. That is something that as soon as I hopefully get an editor sooner rather than later, that I can get these videos out every single week. We're gonna do Cobra Kai, Attack on Titan. More recently, which this is stuff's already filmed. I just have to get it edited. The Mortal Kombat movies. We're definitely doing we're gonna have plenty of content, plenty of things to film, plenty of reactions, plenty of, D&D videos and perspectives and the podcast and everything else. So I am really excited for the future. But I just, like right now, I've got to take it one step at a time. And my first step is to get an editor. So just to help me with it, I can, get everything done in the meantime, but it'll just be at a slower pace just because of all the things going on. So Sir Charles just asked, I just realized the question just came up. What's my favorite D&D class? So my favorite D&D class is not so much set in stone as my favorite D&D race or folk. I think it's the new way of saying it. I usually play a dwarf. A dwarf is my go-to. My very first D&D character was a dwarf, and it was for my good friend slash boss Dave over at my local game store, Game Masters Guild. He also has a YouTube channel, which I've done a couple videos on there too. Definitely check it out if you want to know what it's like to be from his perspective as a store owner and stuff like that. But anyway, he ran a campaign for like 2 years, and my very first character was a dwarf barbarian because I looked at him and I was like, look, listen, Dave, I've never played D&D before. I want to play D&D. And he's like, what do you want to do? I was like, I want to be the guy that when stuff goes sideways, I kick the door down, pull out a giant melee weapon and handle business. And he goes, okay, cool. Then you want to be a barbarian. Then I started looking at all the character races and stuff, and I was like, you know what? I like dwarves. Dwarves carry axes. It'll make sense. Let's do it. So my first D&D character was a dwarf barbarian named Froud. And for those of you that are wondering why Froud, Froud is dwarf backwards. So that was my thought process there. I've done that many, many times. When I was in high school, I got really upset because I wrote a short story about Dracula getting sucked in like a time warp or something weird. And when he got on the other side, he was Alucard. And then lo and behold, Alucard is a character in like Castlevania. And though it's not Dracula, it's his son, I was like, oh, I got robbed from the whole backwards thing because I've always been a stickler for that. So anyway, my character Froud, his name is Froud Stormax, he appears in every single D&D game or one-shot that I run. So if I run a one-shot for a bunch of strangers, it doesn't, I actually have my mini that is Froud that I take with me, that's in my DM D&D box. He's there, you know, and I have his character sheet and everything. I still have the original character sheet, actually. I might have to take a picture of that and put it on there for the patrons. But he always makes an appearance in any kind of setting. So whether you guys are traveling and you see a drunken dwarf that's like outside, you know, he normally doesn't do that because he's prestigious now, but he always makes an appearance, and the mini is always at the table. And for those of you that know me, that play with me, they're like, I wonder when Froud's going to show up. And he is the only constant reoccurring thing that you can count without a doubt happens. So that's definitely a really fun addition to when I play. It actually helps me with, you know, for those of you that DM, you have that one character or that one moment where somebody throws a monkey wrench and you're like, how am I going to tie this now? For me, it's Froud. I did a campaign at one point where I was like, how are we going to get the crowd together? Oh, there's a funeral, they're burying someone. And the person, no one knew who to preside over the funeral, so Froud was at the tavern and they were like, hey, they're burying this like Jarl or something, and we need you to preside over the funeral. And he was like, okay, just give me a nice stout pitcher of ale and I'll do it for you, you know. And like, that was my thing, you know. I was like, and here comes Froud. I have a little coffin mini and I put all the little characters around it, and my real life players came in and sat at the table, and they're all like, dude, what the hell, who died? And we're like, oh, are you guys in character? Is the light on? Do we know you're in? Yeah, we're okay, cool. And sit down and gather on the table, you know. And it was great. It was amazing because I knew who Froud was, and by the end of that session, everybody knew who Froud was. Yeah, Dave's in the chat right now. Game Masters Guild saying Froud was cool. It actually took me about halfway through running our game before I realized Froud was dwarf backwards. Yeah, for real, man. It was a great time. Jeremy from Movies Are Terrible, what's up? I'm always a call away, brother. Dude, I appreciate that, man. Appreciate that. But yeah, so that's basically my favorite class. I don't know, honestly. I haven't played a magic wielder yet. I'm trying to see if I have any of my paperwork here around me. I've been wanting to play a druid. Druids are kind of complicated, which intrigues me. Wizards, sorcerer, and cleric, I kind of, in my mind, I know they're very different classes, but in my mind, they share a lot of similarities, and that's just the way I perceive them. Basically my goal is to try every single class at least one time. That way I can give you a more educated answer. But as of right now, I can tell you, as far as race goes, my go-to is a dwarf. It's definitely my go-to. Sir Charles, do I watch Critical Role? Not consistently. I love Matt Mercer. I'm a big Matt Mercer fan. I need to get into doing something like in the background, maybe listening to a podcast on D&D or something like that, because with COVID, I haven't played D&D as much as I normally would if COVID wasn't a thing. And part of the reason why I'm super excited about this podcast studio / D&D room is that when COVID goes away, or most of my friends, you know, are either in the process or already got vaccinated. So, you know, the fact that I can have gatherings with people again is what I'm super excited about, because I do want to run. I want to figure out ways to mount cameras, and, you know, with everyone's consent, obviously, and get people on. A lot of patrons, not a lot, but several patrons of the channel are people that are local, so I can get on there, and you guys can, you know, if they would like to, you guys can get to meet the patrons and give them the proper shout out and all that good stuff. But yeah, so I am super excited because I haven't gotten to play D&D in a while, and it's a very, very fun game. You guys, a lot of you, you know, like it and want more videos on it and stuff like that, and you know, it's a great, I have a video actually scripted that I have to film, entitled 10 Reasons Why D&D is Not going to Go Anywhere. And these are videos that you guys, you know, are asking for, and as soon as I get an editor, I promise you the schedule, it just has to fix itself. It has to. But yeah, so I definitely am excited for the future. The podcast is something that I've been wanting to do for a long time. I really, really enjoyed being on Matt's podcast. Matt is the reason why I knew podcast was something I wanted to try, because I loved it. I loved, you know, even this is kind of like a podcast because it's alive, and a lot of the times we did it on Matt's channel, it was alive. But I like the fact of having the mic there and hearing yourself and being able to take calls. That was something that I was like, I need to get, you know, equipment to be able to take phone calls and all this other stuff, and learn all this stuff, because there is a learning curve, and that's what I'm super excited about. I love the fact that I can have, I've been listening to podcasts, especially in the last 3 weeks because of being sick and everything. I've been listening to podcasts about anything and everything, from wrestling, because I was a huge wrestling fan, to D&D, to just stuff that's happening in the world of pop culture, stuff that's happening in film, all that stuff. But yeah, so I definitely am excited for everything that, you know, is coming out. D&D, yes, Joyful Spirit, it is hard with kids. It does get easier, I hear, when they get old enough to appreciate it and enjoy it and stuff. I am confident that D&D is not going to go anywhere, but it is something that the newer generation who hasn't been exposed to it might have a harder time grasping it, because basically it was what people a little bit older than me, like your Gen X, and so we're like, oh, this was our video games, you know. And for me, it was like Super Nintendo and, you know, Xbox 360 and PS2, PS3, PS4, whatever. But for them, it was like, yeah, you had your PlayStation, yeah, you had your N64, yeah, you had your Ataris and all that stuff, but D&D is what you played. The closest thing to bridge the gap was like Zorg or something like that. So I know in my household, I am definitely going to get my kids involved in D&D. As my kids are they look at the Dragon minis. Like, my son walked in, just to show you how much of a D&D fanatic I am. I have a random D&D mini on my desk right now. This is a young green dragon. And my kids see these, you know, they see them on the little bases, and I get to put them down, and they're like, you know, Dad, what's the dragon for? And I'm like, well, son, the dragon shows up. What would you do if a dragon showed up? Well, where am I? Oh, you're right here. And I get a little mini on the table, and they're like, well, I'm so small compared to that dragon. I know. What would you do if the dragon showed up? He'd be like, I want him to be my friend. And I'm like, I want you to roll so bad, but you have no idea what that means. So see, in 5 seconds, I literally just got myself excited for D&D. So, but anyway, let's check out this chat, because I haven't been reading it. Showing Jeremy love, that's what's up, that's what's up. Han Solo hasn't played D&D before. Bro, we got to change that. When your kids get older, you'll automatically have 2 extra players. I know. It's amazing. I'll have 2 extra players, and you're gonna have 2 extra employees and volunteers and everything, because they're gonna know the shop, man. D&D is like comic books, as big as movies are. It still always will be a cult thing that lasts. Yeah, I definitely agree with that, Patrick. Dave says he remembers playing it before it was cool. Dude, for real. I did not play D&D. I didn't play AD&D or even original D&D, or three or third edition, 3.5, or even fourth edition, which most people say it's okay that I skipped fourth. I started in fifth edition, and I will tell you, fifth edition D&D, in my very young opinion, is the best that it can be. I know that there are a couple things like why can't a scorpion climb, things like that are kind of weird, but it's not hard to modify it. The beautiful thing about D&D is that the rules are guidelines. The most important thing of D&D is to have fun. If you're not having fun, you're not doing it correctly. So 5th edition takes most of that headache away from it, and you're able to enjoy the game. And which is why, if any of you haven't tried D&D, it is so much fun, and it is so simple, and you could literally play Dungeons and Dragons with one die or even a quarter, and base your decisions off that coin flip. It is that much fun. Starfinder is fun. Yeah, that goes to say any D&D, whether it's Dungeons and Dragons, whether it's, Cosmic Patrol, which happens to be my very first tabletop game, anything from the new games like the new Alien game, anything and everything that's tabletop RPG, or even war games to some degree. I'm not into the war game aspect as much as I am into the tabletop aspect of like role-playing games. But whether you play with miniatures, whether you play Theater of the Mind, which for those of you that don't know what that is without the miniatures on the table, you literally just explain to the DM what you're doing, and he or she determines what's going on with that. But yeah, it's a lot of fun. It is so much fun. But yeah, so now, before it gets any later in the stream or live, I am going to determine who is the winner of April's Patreon giveaway. So I need to find... I should have had this pulled up earlier. But I'm going to go on Patreon and get a short list of all of my wonderful patrons right now. And definitely make sure that those of you who would like to be a patron, this is one of the perks that you get. And it doesn't matter whether you're a $5 a month patron or a $25 a month patron, you still get all of these benefits, because it's my way of saying, one of my ways of saying thank you for being a patron and for contributing to the channel. But I am basically going to put everyone's name on my list randomizer here, and get these names entered so I can do this live. Or yeah, I'm actually doing it live, but I can do this drawing. And for those of you that don't know, I basically put the names in a list randomizer, and I roll my lucky, where are you? My lucky D20 that I keep on this desk at all times. And when I put your name in the list randomizer, it gives me sorry, let me start from the beginning. When I roll the die, the number that the die gives me is how many times I run the list randomizer. So in other words, if I roll a D20 and get a 5, then I hit refresh or re-roll or whatever it is on this website that many times to determine who the winner is. And I'm always trying to figure out different things, different product that I can give away. Originally, it was comic books. I still have a few comic books lying around that I can definitely give. I can add to the pool and stuff. But since I have this 3D printer that the patrons have definitely helped, get for my wife and I to purchase. Like right now, I'm 3D printing that Black Panther statue for MN Comic Books, who won back in February. I'm always looking for, not advice, but like suggestions or requests, not only for videos and content, but like what are some things that you, the patrons, I know I saw at least 5 of you in the chat, would like. Just, not only the object that I raffle off every month, but exclusives for Patreon. What are some perks that you guys would like for me to add? Because feedback is a big way for me to get ideas into practice. Sometimes I always am conscious of the fact that I'm like, well, because I like that doesn't mean they're gonna like it. So I'm always big on that. And yes, I do know that some of you are like, I give you a pledge every month because I want to support local content creators, or I want to support your content, to make sure that, a little bit goes a long way. And I am so appreciative of that, but I just want to make sure that you guys definitely feel that you're getting your money's worth, and you feel invested into the channel and all that good stuff. You could DM a D&D campaign for a certain tier. Yes, Northern Crusaders, I actually have that as a perk for the highest tier of Jedi Master. I know that actually 2 Jedi Master patron supporters would like that perk, and would definitely want me to do that, and that is something I am going to do. I just had to figure out a way to make it to where, because something like D&D, you can't really do it with one person, but it's not really fair for the people that are patrons at that higher tier to wait until there's 4 people for me to DM a game for. So that is a perk on the highest tier. I believe I have it either removed right now or in the process of trying to figure out a way to modify it. But as soon as I get a minimum of 3 people, I like to run with 4, maximum of 5. But if I get 3 people, which I have 2 right now, that would like I could actually ask, I guess, because I think I have 3 people total currently at the top tier that qualify for the D&D. I can add that. I can ask that 3rd person if that's something that they would like to do, and then get that going, and possibly even figure out a way with Streamlabs and stuff like that to screenshot it if they're okay with it, and making it into a video, and that way you guys can get double the content. So and doesn't another thing is, it doesn't necessarily have to be D&D. I think that's the augmentation that I was thinking about doing, was making it any kind of video game. So whether it's playing PlayStation with me, or playing video games with me like on PS4 or something, where it's like you're in the group chat and we're talking, back and forth and playing our favorite game, like whether it's Call of Duty or whatever it is, that's something else that I was contemplating doing for Patreon. And if it's something that you guys are interested in, definitely let me know. I'm going to be using the Discord a lot more frequent than I have been, especially now that I'm back to 98% of feeling a lot better. I just have to get more sleep. I haven't been sleeping lately, but insomnia has been really bad. But I'm going to be using Discord a lot more. For those of you that are on the Discord, it's part of the Patreon. I think it's all 3 tiers, or I think it's 2 tiers that you get access to the Discord. But to those patrons that are still patrons currently, and also patrons that have since stopped being patrons, I really appreciate all of the support. Everything, all of it goes a long way. It helps with getting things like microphones and all that. I say this all the time, but I definitely want to make sure that I'm constantly thanking you guys, because it is very, very, very helpful, to the channel's growth and everything. So seeing Hayao Miyazaki films good, of course, depends on individual taste. Yeah, oh yeah, those movies are incredible. Spirited Away, Howl's Moving Castle, Ponyo, they're amazing movies. Keegan Hurley says, I missed on Holden channel. Keegan, trust me when I tell you, I miss it too. I just have to keep reminding myself that, you know, I have to continue going forward and, you know that I did everything I could. But thank you very much for the kind words. I'm glad that, you know, obviously I'm glad that I wasn't like a skin tag that just got pulled off and thrown away, that people, you know, still miss my insight and everything else. That makes me feel a lot better. But yeah, I don't want to dwell on that anymore. It's not going to fix anything. It's not going to help anyone. You know, it's fine. Everyone has their opinion on the situation, whether they were involved or not. And I'll just leave it at that. You guys are great, and I really appreciate the continued support, regardless of me not being a part of the group anymore. No, Keegan, unfortunately, we're not anymore. I haven't heard from them, or, you know, nothing. So as far as I'm concerned, we're not, because it all ended, I guess. To the point where, to not give any opinion-based answer, I can just tell you what's going on, and what's going on is we're not speaking at the moment, and I don't know if that'll ever change. But yeah, so not to cut you off, Keegan. I'm not trying to say your question's not something I want to talk about. It's just a lot of the answers are it's speculation, because I just don't know. I could decide to look at it many different ways. I can be like, well, this is what I get for being honest. This is what I get for being transparent. This is what I get for, you know, trying to be a friend. You know, I could look at it those ways, but it's not going to help anyone. You know, I got to look at it positive, and I got to say, you know, if you're not valued, then you're not valued, and that's just the way it feels, and that's just the way it's going to be. So. But yeah, you guys are amazing. I'm going to roll this die now. And I am rolling it on a playmat. I should get my dice tray that I made, but I am going to roll it on a playmat because this is a metal die, and it will ruin my table and my desk, and Ash will not be happy about that. So here we go. Rolling the lucky D20 to see how many times I'm going to hit the list randomizer. And that is a 9. Got a 9. You could always tell it's a 9 on a D20 because the dot will be underneath, as opposed to a 6 where the dot is up top, I believe. Or, sorry, the dot will always be underneath. Duh. Because if the dot was on top for a 6 and on bottom for a 9, they would both be the same thing, I think. Anyway, moving on. So, that was a 9. Time to hit, because if I keep talking about it, I won't remember if it was a 6 or a 9. Time to hit that list randomizer 9 times. Make sure everybody's on here. Yep, everyone's on here. So to clarify, if you are a patron of the channel, making sure I got everyone. Yep. So everyone's names are in, double, triple checked, and now hit the list randomizer 9 times. So first time, second time, third time, fourth time, fifth time, sixth time, seventh time, eighth time. Now before I hit the 9th time, I am going to say this. For the first time, I might not do this all the time, but I'm just going to do it this month as an I'm sorry for all the time delays and the scheduling and me trying to figure all this stuff out of being a content creator. I am going to give a prize, gift, whatever you want to call it, to the first 2 people on the list. If your name is number 1, you're going to get something probably a little bit more extravagant because you are the winner. But if you are in second place, you're also going to be getting something in the mail As you know, it's not going to be like, oh, I'm going to give number one $20 and number two a quarter. It's not going to be like that, but you are going to be getting something as well going into it. So I'm about to hit the ninth one, and I'm going to read out first place last. I think that's how they do it. Second place first, first place last. So here we go. Hitting it for the ninth time. Bam. Okay, so the following people are going to receive the giveaways for the month of April. In second place is Nathaniel. Nathaniel Brown, I just talked about, he's in the chat. I definitely just talked about him being a really close friend of mine and being a patron and all that good stuff. He is going to be getting something from me because he was number 2 on the list. So that's the first name. And the second name, which is the first place, is Marius. Now, Marius has been a patron of the channel since since Patreon started for me. Since I made one for the channel, Marius has been a patron since September. And he's been a patron for a very, very long time. I'm trying to make sure that so I have his email. I don't have his address. I'm going to send him a message now and tell him that he won. He is the first place winner. And so I'm sending him this message as we're on the stream still. You were the winner of the April giveaway. Let's see. Hope all is well. So I just sent that message to Marius. Hopefully he responds back with his address so I can send him the gift. And because I'm going to be honest with you guys, I am unprepared. I don't know what it's going to be, but I am definitely going to come up with something by the end of today. Ash and I are going to talk it over. And Nathaniel, you're going to get yours probably a lot sooner because I know where you live and everything. And Marius, I don't know if you're in the chat, but if you watch this in playback, as soon as you get with me where to send it, I will send you yours as well. Patrick, have a good one. I see everyone saying bye to you. Have a good one. So I saw something on here that says somebody was lying. Trying to see here. Why is he lying though? Am I lying? Trying to see. I hope you guys don't think I'm lying. Well, I'm not, but trying to figure out the context of basically. Oh, thank you, man. Basically, Holden said you left on your own accord to do your podcast. So, how do I say this without opinion? First of all, that's not true. That is not why I left. Me doing the podcast was, apart from the fact that I wanted to do a podcast, I've been very, 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 hold on, what? People are saying he's lying. Pastor, you're obviously sitting. Yes, I am sitting. I'm kind of confused. Okay. That really threw me off. Long matey, yeah, I'm sitting. Okay. So the podcast, apart from me being something that I've always wanted to do ever since Matt had me on his podcast, and I was like, I really like this. I like the way this is done. I like the interface. I like, that kind of stuff. I always knew that I wanted to do a podcast, but I didn't know. I was still in the planning phase and everything else. Not making videos with Holden, not being a part of the My Friend Watches crew anymore, kind of put the podcast on a springboard. Like, okay, well, now you get to work on the podcast. So to address what happened, I had been talking to Matt, because Matt had the equipment and the studio, and he had the experience. What I needed to do, not only to start a podcast to upload the videos on YouTube, but to also have a podcast like on Spotify, on iTunes, and all that kind of stuff. So he was giving me all of this knowledge, and I said, well, I need, what do I need to do? What do I need to buy? That kind of thing. And he told me, he was like, this is the camera I would recommend. This is the stuff that I recommend, blah, 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 blah. So I started making a note. I started figuring out how much all that was going to cost. I started saving money. I started working extra hours, Patreon helped, all that stuff. So for those of you that don't know, Holden and I go way back a long time, a lot longer than most of you know, a lot longer than Holden himself realized. Not to get, I'm just literally, anything I'm saying now, I would say in front of anyone. Obviously, I'm saying it for the whole internet to see. But it's also a lot of it, not all of it, but a lot of it is documented out there. So I remember on one of the lives I was asked, you guys always ask questions like, how long were you guys friends for? And a lot of you thought that Holden and Matt were friends for a lot longer than most of us, because the chemistry that they have on his videos, Matt's his subject, all that kind of good stuff. And then Matt was like, no, I've actually known Holden a lot less. Pastor's known him a long time. And Matt asked me, how long have you known him? And I was like, oh, almost 10 years. Well, Holden was asked the same question, and he said it was closer to 5 or something like that. So is that a big deal? No. But because of what ended up happening, it kind of shows you whether it was innocent or, I know for a fact it wasn't belligerent. It wasn't, done maliciously, but, call me obsessive, call me whatever, the fact that in my mind, in my heart, he was my best friend, things like that, you just don't forget. You always know, like, I know his birthday off the top, I memorized his birthday. I knew everything about him because he was, if anyone asked me, who's your best friend? Oh, Holden is, and the thing about it is it doesn't make him a criminal if I wasn't his best friend. It doesn't make him a criminal if he didn't remember, whatever. It doesn't. I'm well aware of that. Nowhere is it written that because you value someone so much, they have to value you as well. No. But it doesn't change the fact that it wasn't the situation. Unfortunately. Does that mean he's a terrible person? No, it doesn't. He didn't do any crime at all. He didn't even have, no one has to like you is the point of the story. Now, as far as the miscommunication or whatever, I don't know what happened. Holden does not like confrontation. That is a fact. As long as I've known him, he's never liked confrontation. Nowhere does anyone say you have to. But there was a lot of under communication, not enough communication. I was basically beating a dead horse, trying to figure out scheduling. I understand that, things happen, life happens and all that other stuff. But, I felt, and I still do, I don't think I'm 100% right. I've said from the first time I addressed this that it's not that I'm 100% right. It's that my conscience is clear. I don't have any kind of demons. I don't have any kind of skeletons, nothing. The only thing that keeps me up at night is how sad I am about what happened. When the whole thing went down, to be honest with you, Holden barely said anything. So, which just brings me to my previous point of when you keep someone in the dark, whether you do it on purpose or whether you do it by accident, it causes a lot of problems because that person starts to come up with their own conclusions because life goes on and life doesn't wait for anyone. And if you don't give someone something, they're going to find it or they're going to have to come up with something to suffice. And that's what happened. So, you know, the whole time, Holden was under the impression that I was upset over something. I wasn't. Uh, I'm trying to remember because it was far back, but lo and behold, what did me in, so to speak, was I had said, and this was the reason why I'm bringing this up is because of all the stuff about the podcast and everything. What was said was, I told him, I was like, I'm gonna take a Sunday, I forget which Sunday, off and not go film, back to back My Friend Watches for Holden's channel, because I didn't have anything for my own channel. And with having to budget time with my wife that I only get to see like 6 hours a week because she works so much, and then the boys take up a lot of our time, and then we have to sleep and all that other stuff, I was like, I don't have the time to devote to filming a video with complete quiet, edit it on time, with no distractions, no problems, no responsibilities, and all that good stuff that demands of being a YouTuber. So I told Matt and the guys in the group chat, I was like, listen, I cannot come over, this coming weekend because I don't have a video for my channel at all. I don't have anything filmed. I don't have anything edited. I don't have any of this stuff. I have nothing to upload. So call me selfish. Those of you that don't know me can come to your own conclusions. Those of you that do know me, you know how much I've done and was willing to do for anyone's channel that wasn't my own. But, I'm even quoting Matt. Matt said at one point, oh yeah, we're all making videos for Holden's channel, but we all have to make our own videos. We all have our own channels. So I said, listen, I don't have a video for my channel. So what was discussed was, Holden and I had this series called My Friend Finally Watches, where I kind of flipped the script. Holden becomes the subject of a movie that he miraculously didn't see, like the Underworld movies and Constantine and Spawn and, the Fast and Furious original, couple of movies that you would think he would see, because like me, he's a big movie guy. And that was going really well. I was getting a lot of views. A lot of you guys enjoyed it. A lot of people, tuned in to see it. I would get, 400 or 500 views in the first couple hours when Holden was the subject, just like he does when Matt is his subject. So at one point, Holden said, listen, I really, I want to do these videos with you because I know how it feels to depend on Matt, to be a subject. So I would like to be that subject for you. And it was great. And I was like, oh my God, dude, that makes me so happy because, it'll grow the community. I will get the audience, and then I can make the videos that I like to do, like D&D and everything else, in conjunction with the My Friend Watches styles videos, stuff like that. So there were times where I would call and I would say, hey, when can we film? This, that, and the third. And he would say, oh, this day. Oh, sorry, I can't do it this day. All right, no problem. So when can we do it? Oh, I'll let you know. And honest to God, life happens. I'm well aware of that. But it took, long story short, it took this argument to happen for Holden to finally say, look, man, I cannot commit to filming with you. From someone, if you'd like to, you don't have to, putting it in my position, I said, listen, I'd like to have a video every single week. My goal is, if you upload videos every Saturday at 9 o'clock, I'd like to upload one at 10 o'clock. If Jeremy wants to do it at 8 o'clock or 11 o'clock, or he wants to do it at 9 o'clock, I don't care. The point is, I think, and I pitched this idea in one of our roundtable meetings or whatever, that if the four of us have a video to release every Saturday, it would be like and I joked about it, but I was serious, like watching a Saturday morning cartoon. At 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, there's something that comes out sequentially every single week. And you guys as viewers can say, oh crap, 8 o'clock Holden has something to come out, 9 o'clock Matt has something, 10 o'clock, Pastor has something, 11 o'clock Jeremy has something, whatever. So, that was my idea. And I was like, you know, a lot of us have schedules. Matt has a full-time job. Jeremy at the time had a full-time job. Holden still had a part-time job, I believe, if memory serves. I've been a stay-at-home dad for a while now. But that's why I said, listen, I am super flexible. I can do whatever it takes. Now, that was the understanding. But I couldn't help but realize that at first, I was like, hey, can we film them at Matt's house? Okay, no, it wouldn't work out because we were filming so many things over there already. You know, can we do it at your house? Okay, no, because his situation changed. He ended up getting a family, all that. Can we do it at my house? Yeah, sure. And then he had to figure out when he can get to my house and all this stuff. So I said, you know what? I'm going to offer to pay you because it is your time, it is your gas, it is all this stuff. Was I getting paid? No. Did I care? No. All I cared about was if it cost me, you know, $20, whatever, a video to, you know, to get content with him. I was like, I'm just doing it for the subscribers. You know, I will pay you for your time and I will pay you for your inconvenience, whatever. And it basically took me saying, okay, enough is enough. I'm sorry if this comes off as selfish, but I am coming to your house once every 2 weeks because for some people involved, filming every week was too much. I'm coming over once every 2 weeks and filming from 9 o'clock to 6 o'clock content for everyone's channel but mine. And I'm sorry that it sounds selfish, and I'm sorry to you guys if it sounds selfish, but you know, we were filming videos for Holden's channel, we were filming skits, we were filming all this other stuff, and I just said, hey, we don't have to do it on the weekend, we don't even have to do it on the week, we don't even have to do it the same day every week. Just if we can come up with a schedule that I know that I can tell my wife, hey, look, Holden and I are filming this day, I can set up a babysitter, I can do this, I can do that, and I will pay you because it is an inconvenience. You're driving 35 minutes. But then I said to myself one day, and I got really upset, and I said, you know what? I'm driving 35 minutes consistently every other weekend. I barely see my wife. I barely do all these things, but she's supportive. She knows, you know, and like I said, guys, I'm not trying to make this like, woe is me, but I did say, oh, I'm going to make a podcast. You know, and I had to come up with something. I had to come up with something because I was like, listen, if I don't come up with a reoccurring segment or a reoccurring series or something that the subscribers can count on, especially Patreon and everything else, people are donating and paying money for content, essentially, you know, I'm going to be in a bad way. So I was like, the podcast is going to be something that now I'm going to have to dive into because this isn't happening, you know. And it took the argument for Holden to finally say, you know what, I cannot commit, dude. And if I'm a bad person for not being able to commit, then, you know, XYZ. And I was like, listen, that's not the problem. The problem is it took a fight for you to finally say you couldn't commit. Now, whether that, I believe, is very objective, that's what happened. I'm not going to judge him. I'm not going to, you know, that's not my place. If his motives were, I hate you and I don't want to make videos with you, that's all well and fine. If his motives were, you know, I love you, you're my best friend, and stuff just, you know, life got in the way, that's fine. But at the end of the day, you know, I was putting all of myself in a box and throwing it in the ocean and saying, you don't matter, you need to live for your friends. And then when I said, well, crap, I've been scratching everyone's back, now I have an itch in my back that I can't reach, I got to find a way to scratch it. And taking a step back and saying, if I don't work on my channel, it's going to sink. I might as well just give up my channel and just make videos full time for you. You know, and like I said, anything and everything I said in this rant that I did not plan on talking about is objective. It's what happened. It could be my word against whoever's, but the fact that you guys were confused about something he said about me throwing him away for a podcast, that is not true. The podcast was something that I was either going to work around everyone's schedule, because that's just how I am as a person, or it is what it became, and I had no intention then of it becoming that, which is, well, since I'm not going to make videos with anyone anymore, I might as well have to come up with something. Now, I said, you know, I'm going to do a podcast every Sunday, but I never said I'm going to do it at 9 a.m. when we start filming every other Sunday. I said, no, the podcast will come out every Sunday, as in pre-recorded. But I guess that's not how it was received, or it was, you know, we'll just say this is what, I mean, I don't know what happened. The fact of the matter is, I mean, if you guys can't see it, then I don't know how to put it, but the worst thing that happened was that, you know, everything ended and everything died. And then, you know, I've had people tell me, well, you know, if you're the only one affected by the end of the friendship, then were they your friends? And I'm like, I can see your point, but it still sucks. But anyway, long rant over. Again, none of this stuff is to put anyone down, you know, but I believe in being transparent to you guys, and that's what happened. A lot of other stuff happened that, no offense, I'm not going to get into because the other parties are not here, and I'm not throwing anyone under the bus. This is not an opinion-based rant. Because someone said, oh, he left because he wanted to do his podcast, that's not accurate. That is not an accurate, you know, reason. So I just wanted to set that record straight. Random Andy saying, can I ask you a question about Matt? So what's your question, Random Andy? Sorry, I'm trying to catch up on the chat as well. I appreciate that, Jay Wolfie. And like I said, in the very first live, which I think is the most recent live that I did before this one, I talked about, you know, none of this is throwing anyone under the bus. I still have that same sentiment. I still wish every single one of them the best of luck. You know, a lot of people involved were like, oh, what are you going to say about me? And I'm like, I'm not going to say anything about you because that's not who I am as a person. I'm going to go on my live and I'm going to tell people, hey, I'm not going to be going there doing any more videos. They deserve to know. I'm definitely not going to keep you guys in the dark. So when I get all these questions about why are you not in the videos anymore, I'm like, well, either they're getting ignored or they just want to hear my side of it. Either way, I'm going to tell them because you guys are courteous enough, you know, to watch the content. So I have to be transparent, because if I'm not, then it's not Pastor making videos. It's my persona, and I don't have a persona. You're in my office. Like, the shields are down, guys. But yeah, and I met with Jeremy, King of the Hills 34, with the super chat, dude. I appreciate that, man. Bummer that it happened. I'm gonna enjoy everyone's content until it's no longer produced. I really appreciate that, man. I really appreciate the super chat. You didn't have to do that. Thank you very, very much. I had lunch with Jeremy a couple weeks, or about a month ago, I think now, and basically I said, well, you know what, man, in the end of everything, when the dust settled, both Matt and Holden are making content with you now. They're collabing with you a lot more. So if I'm the martyr in this, and me losing everything made it to where everyone else said, you know what, maybe we should budget our time differently, and things got better, and Jeremy, now you're getting collabs and all this other stuff, then I'm okay with losing everything. That's fine, because I'm going to keep making videos whether I succeed or not. If I get, and I told them, I said, if I don't get a single new subscriber from this moment forward because I'm not in any of these collab videos, then that's fine. The other 6,000 whatever at the time subscribers, hopefully they'll stick around. Hopefully they find value in my content. If not, then that's okay as well. You know, that's the beautiful thing about YouTube. It's free. You want to subscribe, it's free. So I've been the same person from day one as I have been. My phone's gonna die, guys. Let me make sure I have enough. I have 5%, unfortunately. This live went a lot longer than I thought. But let me get this question real fast. Did Matt have a huge say in this, and did he say stuff to you that would be surprising to us? And was he one that made you leave and not Holden? So, Random Andy, that's a good question. I'm actually going to... Han Solo says... Oh, there's a delay. Okay, Han Solo says I subscribed to you first because Holden, to be honest, but I stayed because you're. I really appreciate that, Han Solo. I really appreciate that. So before hopefully my live doesn't die on you guys. Just coming in and missed a lot. Love, thanks for letting us know when you can. Love the channel. I'm not going anywhere. I really appreciate that, nerdy Newfie. I really appreciate that. But yeah, so to answer, to answer Random Andy, put it to you this way, diplomatically and objectively. When the whole thing went down in the group chat, it was Matt and I for the most part. Jeremy stepped away. He said, I don't have enough context. I'm stepping away. Matt said, I have too much context. I'm stepping away. Holden didn't really say anything except when I called him out. He would say like, hey man, what's going on? You know, why are you dropping my name everywhere? As if I wasn't talking about him. But it was mainly Matt that was going back and forth with the whole thing, and Matt was very matter of fact about it. He was very, you know, cold, cut, direct. He didn't say anything that told me don't go, don't come, whatever. No, I don't know what anyone's motives were except for my own. I don't know. I don't know if Matt was trying to fix everything. I don't know if Matt was trying to get me out of the way. I don't know what was going on in his mind, in Holden's mind, even in Jeremy's mind, even though all you can do is take people's words for what they say. And I know that what I said, my story will never change, hasn't changed. There may have been misunderstandings, there may be miscommunications. The point of the matter is, nothing was said to me that, you know, directly. It was all just kind of vague or nothing at all. Die soon. Yeah, I'm at 3%, so I'm gonna go soon here. JS, sorry you got here at the end of it. I'm actually gonna cut the live short now. My phone literally is gonna die. Thank you, M and Comic Books. Yeah, definitely go back and, you know, listen and everything for anything that you missed. Hopefully I have a list, an outline. I'm looking through it now. I don't think I missed anything. If I did, I will be going on live a lot sooner than the last time. I'm gonna be doing this every week or so again, maybe twice a week, something like that. Definitely look out for the podcast. I'm literally going to race before the time goes off. I really, really appreciate you guys. Thank you so, so much. I hope that I answered a lot of your questions. I hope that, you know, you guys got more clarity, more closure, whatever it is. Thank you guys for all the kind words. Thank you for, you know, the support. Those of you that are patrons, I love you guys. Thank you so much for that. If you want to be a patron, definitely there's a link that's going to be in the video description, all that good stuff. Thank you very, very, very much. I love you guys, and I will see you really, really soon. Sorry, my phone's going to die.